on the snow out here than it would be if there wasn't snow out here right now.
Strutting her stuff and proud as a peacock, locomotive number 493 returned to revenue service in February of 2020. Dormant since the final days of the Rio Grande between Alamosa and Farmington, the 493 awakened after a long slumber of 52 years. She had been left in Alamosa by the Grand after the abandonment of the remains of the once far-flung narrow-gauge empire, save for the now isolated Silverton branch. In 1981, that lone remnant of the track was sold to Charles Bradshaw and his newly created Durango and Silverton, along with the sale of the branch, locomotives 480, 498, 499, and 493, which had remained at the site of the Alamosa shops. The 4 locomotives were put on lowboy trailers and trucked over Wolf Creek Pass, which is up on the Great Divide, and then trucked on down the other side to join the other locomotives left by the Rio Grande in 1968. Of the Alamosa 4, only the 480 would originally see service, coming back in 1985. The 490s, on the other hand, languished outside initially until moved inside the enlarged Durango Roundhouse that was constructed after the 1989 fire. In the late 1990s, this portion of the roundhouse was opened to the public as the Railroads Museum with the forlorn 490s moved out of their stalls. 498 became a parts source as the K37 class, while cobbled from the hulks of standard gauge consolidations. The parts of their new construction share many parts with their K36 counterparts. 499 was loaded back onto a trailer and shipped to the Royal Gorge, a trade to receive and restore K36 number 486 back to service, as it was believed that the K37s were hard on the Silverton's tight curves after 497 was restored to service in 1984. Because of the 497's perceived problems, it was swapped 7 short years later for the Cumbres and Toltec's long out of service K36 number 482. 497 would continue at the Cumbres and Toltec until 2002, when its flue time would expire, and since has been stored in the remnant of the Chalma Roundhouse. During its time in service on the Cumbres, it was discovered that the pilot truck, the leading axle, had been troublesome, resulting in some of the problems that plagued it in Durango. Back to the 493. Evicted from the Durango Roundhouse, it was towed dead by K28 473 in 1999 to Silverton as a display in the Silverton Yard Museum and displayed for the next 17 years in the harsh environment. By 2016, she was rolled back to Durango for a potential rebuild by the Colorado Railroad Museum to join Sister 491 pulling trains across from the Coors Brewery in Golden. Eventually, these plans fell through and the 493 never left the Silverton branch. Instead, the Durango and Silverton took on the rebuild of 493 back to service, and on July 4th of 2018, it was announced that it would become the first oil burner on the Silverton. As part of the rebuild process, the design of the firebox, a holdover from the original 1902 locomotive that had many rigid staybolts, these were removed and replaced with flexible ones. The new design allows the inner firebox to move with thermal changes in relation to the cooler outer wrapper sheet on the exterior. Originally, the 493 was to enter revenue service as part of the railroad's Winter Photographer Special. Instead, heavy passenger loads for the Winter Cascade train during President's Day weekend proved too much for K28 number 476 to handle, and the larger 493 was then pressed into revenue service 2 days earlier than anticipated on February 14th, where we caught it near Trimble Hot Springs. Let's take a ride on what was supposed to be the maiden voyage of the 493 on the 16th. We start at Pinkerton Siding, about halfway up the grueling Hermosa Hill. We finish the climb from Hermosa, slink through the High Line, and cross the High Bridge at Tacoma. This bridge is the highest crossing of the Animas and is the second one since leaving Durango yard limits earlier this morning. We dive deeper into the forest and reach Ah Wilderness, the long-ago shuttered dude ranch that stood in a wide part of the canyon just south of the tank at Tank Creek. With water level low due to winter, we're practically in the river at the Crib Wall at Teft, just north of the terminus of today's winter operations on today's Silverton branch. Flipped around on the Cascade Y, we do multiple passes on the Teft Bridge. This through truss bridge is the third crossing of the Animas and is usually unseen by winter trains. Heading back to Durango, we catch the 493 pounding past the siding near the historic hydroelectric plant at Tacoma. We'll watch as the train clings to the narrow shelf of the world-famous Horseshoe Curve. We leave the 493 on this winter day. The locomotive would end up being the solo operating steam locomotive for the 2020 operating season, of which you can find more footage here on our channel. I'd like to thank you for watching.
It's like an atomic bomb.
Hey guys, big deal here. Care for another video in these trying times? Well, check out one of these here. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't already, make sure you click subscribe. I'd like to thank you for watching. Make sure you click like if you really like this video. And if you didn't, let me hear in the comments. We'll see you next time on the next one.